All right, we'll give everybody a few minutes to hop on here tonight, but on the road, so pulled over for a quick dinner stop, and figured it probably better to be doing supper with Sean sitting in a parking lot than to be driving down the road. So anyway, tonight wanted to talk a little bit about afraid of no. And, as young farmers, there are plenty of opportunities that we have to take advantage of. But, oftentimes we don't take advantage of those opportunities, or we don't go out. And last night I talked a little bit about how to make it happen. And unfortunately, our state just seems to, they're not afraid of saying no. They just can't find compromise. But for us as young individuals involved in agriculture and our careers and our choices in life, there are a lot of opportunities. You just have to be willing to go make it happen. So that was kind of what we talked about last night. But, as I get involved and continue to talk to people who ask me about my farming start and how I got involved and kind of what I'm doing. But, it's one of those things that if you think about being afraid of the no and letting it hold you up from taking a risk, because the worst thing that's going to happen if we go and talk to somebody, maybe it's a neighbor that is considering getting out of farming, maybe it's a job that we really want, that we feel we could be really good at, but we fear that they're going to tell us no. Maybe it's a farm we've always wanted to farm. Maybe it's maybe it's getting started in something that you don't have any experience in, but you're afraid of being told no. So rather than being afraid of no, we just don't even do it. We don't even make the initiative or take the initiative to go have a conversation with a potential landlord or a potential banker that might have connections. And, it takes risk. You have to be willing to step out and go after it and make it happen. And you cannot be afraid of the no. And how do you handle that? Well, sometimes being told no is okay, especially if the banker's telling you no because you don't have the finances to go make an equipment purchase or buy the farm that you always wanted. But take that no and like it's hard. It's hard sometimes to be told no. But at the end of the day, we know how hard it is to tell people no. It's hard both ways, right? It's hard to tell people no, and it's hard to be told no. But we have to be willing to understand what was the reason. And persistence is pretty key. And I'm a pretty persistent individual, for those of you who do know me. If somebody tells me no, I want to understand why. Don't just tell me no, but help me understand why. Because then the next action of after being told no, I want to understand, how do I make the no a yes? So don't live with the no. You don't have to live with a no. What you need to know after you get told no is that, how am I going to make that no become a yes? Maybe it's the job you always wanted, but you're not qualified. Okay, help me understand what I need to do to get qualified for that job. Or Mr. Landlord, or, potential landlord, what would you like for me to do to make me more attractive for you? And so I think that's one of those things. And oddly enough, I was having a conversation with another young farmer who sells seed on the side. And he was talking about something that their young farmers do in their Farm Bureau group, is they have a resume box. So you create your own little portfolio to talk about you and your farm, kind of a resume book. And you put that in a file at the local county Farm Bureau office. And then if there is a landlord or someone that's looking to bring on a young farmer, they have a place to go with that. And they can go to that county Farm Bureau office, look at your resumes, call you up if that's who they want. But now all of a sudden you found other ways to make a no become a yes. That maybe I don't know how to get information out there. Utilize your farm bureaus, utilize your your state corn growers associations or soybean. Maybe it's the cattle association. There are plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in network, because I will tell you, in my short tenure in this industry, It is super small, and I can promise you that it isn't a seventh person rule. It's not that every seventh person knows somebody. In agriculture, it's probably closer to 3. And I would be willing to bet that it's even 2, but we'll go with 3 tonight. So if somebody tells you no, don't be afraid of getting that no. Understand that the next follow-up question that you need to ask is, how do I make that no become a yes? Because it's possible it might be a little bit longer time until that person's ready to bring on somebody to their farming operation. Maybe it's another opportunity for you to get another job to get you some experience prior to taking the role of your dreams or the job of your dreams. I hate calling them a job because you got to enjoy what you do. If you're not passionate about it or enjoy it, you got to challenge yourself to find something different. Don't let somebody tell you that you have to be stuck in that rut, because you don't have to be. There are plenty of opportunities in ag if you want to go make it happen. And use a network, talk to people. And so if you get told no by somebody, find out what it's going to take to get a yes. And of course, an easy one is if the banker tells you no, find out what it's going to take. What's it going to take for me to improve my numbers on my balance sheet to get that loan? Or what's it going to take for me to get a down payment on a farm? Well, start setting goals. Identify the target that I want to buy 100 acres, and I want to do that in the next 10 years, and I'm going to need a 10% down payment based off of the program that I'm going to apply for. Start planning that. Utilize mentors to help you get to that point, and then all of a sudden, the no that happened, and it might not be a yes immediately, but be patient with that. So don't be afraid of the no. Use it to grow and challenge yourself. And I think as young farmers, we have to be willing to step outside of the box. And, today and in my job, I have the opportunity to work with farmers all across the country, primarily in the Midwest now in my new role. But happen to be with some, and I've been on trips with some large farmers. And, those guys get the way they are because they take risk. They take calculated risk. Now, some of us may call them crazy, but we're afraid of stepping outside of the box sometimes and thinking about what is the alternative to what I do today. And I know I was brought up pretty conservative, old school, but I think to myself as I talk with other people, why don't I think that way, or why don't I challenge myself a bit more? And as I think about my operation and how can I grow that and continue to network with others and kind of lay a path forward, it's all about relationships. And you might not even be ready to ask for that question to get the no today, but start thinking about what you have to do to, even if it is a potential no, be thinking about what you have to do that when that time comes, maybe it's not a no by then, or maybe it's a no that you still need more time, but kind of have that situation played out in your head. What if I get a no? How am I going to respond? Because I'll tell you what, getting mad and upset and throwing your hands in the air and throwing a fit, that's not the way to handle that situation. But if you handle that situation with questions and follow that up with understanding, what do I need to do to make that a yes? And maybe it's as blunt of a question as that. You can get people to help you. They will talk you through it. And if they don't, find somebody who will. Because I'll guarantee you there's somebody in this industry that's probably been through that before, whether it's a mentor in our county, maybe it's somebody from another state that's been involved with that. And I'll tell you, get involved in your county farm bureau, whether you're a young farmer and rancher, get involved in young leaders. Those are all great opportunities for you to start to see how others do things. And you'll have the opportunities to take trips that you would never otherwise get. And you can start to learn from those people and see what they do, because we all exactly find a non-family member mentor, because those people, and that's why you need to get involved, I think, with your state level too, because you can start to find people that might not be in your county. Get involved with those people because they can answer some of those questions for you. There's tons of resources out there available to young farmers and old farmers alike, but utilize the people who have been through it before. They've been through all this, right? And for some of us, we were able to get into farming in the past 5 years, and we don't know what a depressed corn market is. Ask a farmer who's been through the 80s, and they will tell you what they needed to do to make it. So utilize people around you, because learning from them will help you make a no become a yes. So as I leave you tonight thinking through that, and we'll talk a little bit more about some challenges and things that we can sit down and do as we think about a young individual trying to get involved in a farming operation. I know it requires patience, and I'm right there with you. Nothing comes easy, and if you think it's going to come easy, you're probably in the wrong occupation. But you know, it's a great opportunity. We all have great opportunities. It's a matter of whether or not you're going to make it happen. And I just can't emphasize enough, if you want to make it happen, surround yourself with good people, ask lots of questions, network, and at the end of the day, don't be afraid of that no. What you have to be willing to do is follow up that no with a subsequent question that is, how do I make that no become a yes? Tell me why it's a no. And if they don't have a good answer for you, then maybe that's not the right person to be involved with. But make sure they understand why they're telling you no, so when you come back to them, you can have your ducks in a row, and that no then becomes a yes. So don't be afraid of the no. Step outside of the box. Have conversations with people that you wouldn't normally converse with. Don't be afraid to go and talk to the neighbor if they're an aging farmer that you think might be interested in retirement. The worst they're going to do is tell you no. And that no might not last forever, and it might hurt, and it might depress you a little bit in that moment. But at the end of the day, all they did was tell you no. They didn't cut your head off. All they did was tell you no. So don't get your hopes up, but certainly don't be afraid of the no. Be willing to have that conversation and ask the question. Because what will happen is, if you don't ask the question, all of a sudden the opportunity is gone, and now there's not even a chance for a yes, because you missed the opportunity because you were afraid of the no. So with that, I'm going to leave you on that note. Don't be afraid of the no, and thanks for watching Supper with Sean. We'll catch you tomorrow night.